What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome back to MKO Boxing, aka MKO Pugilism, where we like to talk all things box. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube, follow on TikTok, all that good stuff. So, in this one, I'm just going to speak a bit about the big fight that's taking place over this weekend on Saturday. Some people will call it a jog fight, some people will call it not serious, but it's going to be a professional boxing match over 10 rounds between Jake the Problem Child Paul, YouTuber, influencer, and versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., son of the legendary Julio Cesar Chavez, one of the greatest boxers to ever come out of Mexico. Some say the greatest, but he's certainly one of them. He's certainly up there. So, you got Chavez Jr., a guy that's, basically, I thought he was pretty much retired. But he's a pro boxer, turned pro quite young. I think he was about 17 years old or so. Showed very much a lack of dedication to the sport, but he was able to obtain a world title at least once. He took losses whenever he stepped up against top guys. Back in the day, obviously to Canelo, among others. And you got Jake Paul, the problem child, who, again, as I say, YouTuber, influencer, but he seems to be taking his boxing training very seriously. He's picked his fights very carefully, fighting the old UFC, retired UFC fighters, Ben Askren, Anderson Silva, who gave him a decent fight, but he managed to stop Anderson Silva, Tyron Woodley, who gave him a good fight as well, but then second time round, and got knocked out by him and faced a couple of novice pros, and the best guy he fought so far has been Tommy Fury, who's he's a novice pro, not particularly great, nothing really to write home about Tommy Fury. He's very much a novice who's still learning his craft, but there's nothing really sort of outstanding about him, but he was a good enough boxer to beat Jake Paul, but Jake Paul, to his credit, was able to hurt Tommy Fury and put him down. That's where Jake Paul is. So you've got a YouTuber who takes boxing very, very seriously against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who's basically a professional, but he's a professional who, at least in my view, going into this, hasn't really taken boxing very seriously throughout his career. A guy that really sort of ballooned up in weight and just wasn't really very serious about the sport, wasn't particularly good when he was a fighter. He was kind of a sort of average fighter. One thing I rate about Chavez Jr. is that he was always a very tough guy. He showed a decent chin. He wasn't no glass jaw or anything, but skills-wise, very, very sort of average, just sort of run-of-the-mill, traded sort of on his last name, and any decent fighter he did fight, he lost to him. So he's not no great shakes, nothing to really write home about. And for me, cards on the table, I'm picking Jake Paul to win this fight, and it's simply because, for one, they share a common opponent in Anderson Silva, and Jake Paul was able to beat and to stop Anderson Silva, to take him out. Some people say it's fixed, but nonetheless, it's on the record books that he was able to beat and to stop him, take him out, and that same Anderson Silva was able to beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. So when we measure them against common opponents, I think Jake Paul looks better against their one common opponent. He was able to beat him. Chavez struggled and wasn't able to deal with Anderson Silva. So I think you got that as a factor. And I think also just simply the fact that of the two guys, yes, I don't really rate Jake Paul in any way, shape or form, but I'll say that Jake Paul is the one of these two guys that actually takes the sport seriously. he actually trains hard. You can see he's doing his nutrition. He's got, you look at his videos and his setup, he looks serious. Yes, he's a YouTuber. He's not all that great, but of the two of these guys, Jake Paul is the one doing top quality training, top quality preparation. So of these two, for me, Jake Paul is the guy that's prepared for the fight. He's the guy that's ready to go. And obviously you got the common opponent and he's beating the common opponent. So for me, I think just the fact that Jake Paul takes this thing seriously sort of makes me at least lean towards his side. To me, I favor him to win, and I just feel the momentum's with him. Now, with Julio Cesar Chavez, from the footage I've seen of him, he looks very poor. He looks slow. He looks kind of lethargic in his workouts. And if he's bringing what we see in what he's posted on social media. Normally on social media, you expect the sort of best stuff. You expect to post your great training footage. And I mean, he looks very poor. And I mean, put it this way, even I would say Mike Tyson, when he was preparing to fight Jake Paul, he looked ferocious, and I think a lot of Tyson stuff was sped up. But Tyson looked technically good, and he looked, although I never backed him to beat Jake Paul, but he looked quick, he looked up for it, he looked aggressive, he looked like there was spite and there was venom in his punches. But I mean, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. just looks novice. He looks slow. He looks lethargic. He doesn't look good at all even in the workout videos that he's been posting. So of the two of them, for me, I just think Jake Paul's taking this more seriously. I'm not convinced that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. has taken this thing seriously, and I just think I'm with Jake Paul. I think Jake Paul's going to beat him, and most probably beat him on points. I doubt we're going to see the stoppage, but I can't say I'd be surprised, because I'm not really convinced that Chavez Jr. has taken this seriously. I think he seems quite casual, and the training footage looks pretty poor. He looks like he's lost a step, like he's very, very rusty. So anyway, that's my thoughts on it. That's my opinion. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, it's MKO Boxing, over and out.